Manufacturing Consent. Hi, it's me, and this is A Minute Earth. Today we're going to talk about Manufacturing Consent. It's a book that was published in 1988 by two guys, Edward S. Herman and Noam Chomsky. And the subtitle of the book is How the Mass Media Promote the National Interest. And between these two guys, they had some pretty radical ideas about how the mass media work. The book is considered required reading for anyone studying propaganda, and it introduces us to this idea called the propaganda model. And the propaganda model basically says that mass media in democratic societies can serve as a powerful tool for propaganda, needing any kind of overt censorship or government control. How? Well, through 5 key mechanisms that filter the news. First, there's ownership. Most major media outlets are owned by huge corporations whose interests are best served by keeping things as they are, which means that the media's agenda setting and its content will tend to reflect those of the owners. Second, there's advertising. Media outlets make most of their money from selling ads, and they rely on big businesses to place those ads. So media outlets avoid content that might upset those advertisers. Third, there's sourcing. Often the news media gets their stories from government or corporate sources, which means that those in power get to set the agenda, and those without power have little influence. Fourth, there's flack. Media outlets are vulnerable to negative responses from powerful interests, like a lawsuit from a big corporation, or public backlash from a powerful group, and this can pressure them to avoid certain topics or to frame them in a certain way. Fifth, there's ideological control. Originally, this filter was framed as anti-communism, but over time, it's come to include other narratives as well. For example, the war on terror. Stories that support this dominant ideology are more likely to get covered, while those that question it get silenced. So those are the 5 filters that the book talks about. And Chomsky and Herman argue that this doesn't require a conspiracy. It's not some kind of sinister plot. Rather, it happens through the normal day-to-day operations of media organizations that are embedded in a capitalist system. They're incentivized to produce certain kinds of content and avoid others. And this is all done in a context where ownership and control of the means of communication are highly concentrated. So what does this mean? Well, if most media outlets are owned by a few giant corporations, and if those corporations have a vested interest in maintaining the status quo, then it becomes much easier to see how the system works to the advantage of the powerful and the detriment of the powerless. The news that gets covered is the news that serves elite interests. That's why the title of the book is Manufacturing Consent. It's a phrase that comes from the journalist Walter Lippmann, who said that the essence of democracy is that in order for it to work, you need to manufacture consent. You need to shape people's opinions to get them to go along with what the elites want. So what's the solution? Well, that's not really up to me to say. This is just A Minute Earth. But if you want to better understand how the media works and how it shapes our world, then this is definitely a book to check out. As always, if you enjoyed this, please do share for more information, literacy, and education. And I'll see you next time.